state capture report has named a few politicians, implicating them in corruption and the looting of state-owned entities. The likes of Nomvula Mokonyane, Gwede, Mantashe, and even President Cyril Ramaphosa have been named in the report for their various roles and for various reasons. So it's now up to political parties, in part, to ensure that their internal processes are tight enough to bring accountability. Let's unpack the story further with Dr. Alex Mashilo, who is the SACP spokesperson and joins us via our video link this morning. Dr. Mashilo, it's great to talk to you, and the irony of you speaking to us under load shedding at a time where we're now, continuing to count the cost of state capture and all of those years and what it cost our country. What is the role now of organizations like Cosatu and like the SACP?
Our role is to continue mobilizing to ensure that, first of all, society across the board reads the report from part 1, volume by volume, up to part 6. It is important that we do not depend on some 100-word or 50-word summary of a certain section in the report, but we are guided by a holistic appreciation of the text of the report. Given that, we will be in a good position to produce a more informed and comprehensive response ourselves, so that we can contribute through public discourse, or if need be, through submissions to Parliament, when the President submits his report to Parliament in line with the process, indicating what steps he and the government and other organs of the state will take to implement the recommendations of the report or to engage with its findings.
It's heavy reading, isn't it? I've just started on part 1 of volume 5 of the report, and there's a lot there around important institutions like the State Security Agency, such strong words of, how the unraveling of that institution, in fact, led to the state capture project being expedited. We didn't have those checks and balances, did we, when we needed them the most?
Of course, there were weaknesses in the checks and balances, but let us not blame systems. When you were recruited at Newzroom Afrika, you expressed your honesty in the interviews, isn't it? And your bona fides were taken according to the engagement that the organization had. The fact that there could have been weaknesses in the checks and balances was not a license for those who are in the SSA and other organs of the state to steal public finances. Just imagine, over 360 million taken from the South African State Security Agency in 2 days only, on the 15th and on the 18th of December 2017, to go and support a faction of the ANC contesting to win ANC leadership positions. And some individuals coming from that faction are so proud in defending what they did and doing all other things to disrupt the country. So we should know that the beneficiaries of state capture are not going to be folding their arms. They are going to do their best. If need be, they will try and disrupt this country and do all other things such as we saw in July last year. So we need to know that the road ahead is not going to be a simple road. We have to stand together. We have engaged in the struggle against apartheid. It is now time to deepen our struggle, to defend our democratic dispensations and pursue democratic, economic and social transformation for the benefit of all the people.
Well, let's bring in Bheki Ntshalintshali now, who is Cosatu's General Secretary. Bheki, it's great to bring you into the conversation as representing one of the members of the Tripartite Alliance. And we're just going through, some of the findings in the latest edition of the State Capture Report, the final edition of the State Capture Report. President Cyril Ramaphosa and his role as deputy president during the time of state capture also coming under serious scrutiny by Chief Justice Raymond Zondo. In fact, one of our colleagues in the media unpacking that part of the report for us this morning, saying that the president testified that resistance from within the ANC at the time was better than a marginal position outside of the party. This was President Cyril Ramaphosa's explanation for why he did not speak out more strongly during the state capture years under Jacob Zuma as president. So I'm asking you, as I did with Alex Mashilo as well, what should have been the role of the tripartite alliance then, and what is the role now?
Thank you very much, and good morning. I missed the earlier part of the interview, but coming back to the issues, the role for us, I will not just speak broadly to the alliance, has always been to the watchdog in the democracy, to be able to raise those issues that seems not to be in line with our dispensation. The role now, as I think Mashilo has indicated, is going to be the difficult one. The role of the state, in our view, is to make resources available for both for those that are investigating, for those that are going to be prosecuting, the question of protecting the whistleblowers, but as well as giving more money to the justice system to be making the courts available to relegate some cases that are not serious to acting judges so that the processes continue, but to allow those that are capable to prosecute and preside on these matters so that we can move with the speed necessary. It takes 4 years to investigate. It should not take another 4 years to prosecute. It should take it longer period. Yeah. I mean, a shorter period for that matter.
Dr. Mashilo, I want to bring you back into the conversation now, because the program of action, so to speak, in the wake of the recommendations of the state capture inquiry, as Bheki Ntshalintshali says, it needs to be expedited. I'm not sure whether 4 years or a period less than 4 years is a bit too optimistic, but certainly it does need to be expedited. What are you expecting from President Cyril Ramaphosa? Because we now know what Chief Justice Raymond Zondo thought about his action as deputy president. What kind of stronger action do we expect from him now for his ministers implicated in the report?
Greetings to Comrade Bheki, Cosatu General Secretary. Look, the President presented his testimony to the Commission, and if I may emphasize again, our response to the report of the Commission has to be comprehensive and guided by the entire text, word for word, without skipping even a punctuation, because we might skip a particular understanding. Now, that said, the President, as he said yesterday, will perform his duties in line with the Constitution, looking at the entire report, producing a program of action on the findings and the recommendations made in the report. Let us go back to 2018 when the Commission started. Let us appreciate that there were times when the Commission could not complete its work and there were several extensions. The very same handover of these last two parts of the report required some extensions. So it is possible that 4 years might not be enough. What we will need to see, however, is the National Prosecuting Authority and all other organs of the state, including the courts, firing on all cylinders to try their best to complete their work within record time. But saying that, we have to learn from the work of the Commission. Let me give you an example. There are these fugitives from justice who, when they were wanted in South Africa to account, they disappeared from the country through methods that still needs to be investigated. They ran away to Dubai. The time that it will take to extradite them to South Africa is not entirely dependent on the South African state. It's dependent also on the authorities in Dubai, international law, and Interpol, and so on. So we just wish that the process will move faster, but at the same time, we are guided by history in this regard. What we want to see, of course, is this process to be concluded as soon as possible. And once we do that, we have to also pay attention to what is going on in our state system, in the government, in the public sector, not because of the public representatives or the officials that are unscrupulous, but because of private sector forces that have turned our state into a field of their accumulation of wealth.
Yeah. The ANC statement last night as well, in the wake of the final part of the state capture report being handed over to the president, saying on the issue of members implicated in the report, Bheki and Ntshalintshali, do you think that this is strong enough, what the ANC is saying here? It says it will be guided by its 54th National Conference resolutions. So all ANC members implicated in the inquiry in alleged corruption should make representations to the State Capture Commission. It does say at the bottom of that statement, though, that all relevant institutions and law enforcement agencies should study the findings and take appropriate action. But this issue of appearing before the Integrity Commission, which itself is questionable insofar as the strength of the action it's able to take, is this a strong enough response, in your opinion, from the African National Congress?
I have not seen their statement, and from what you are saying is that they would have taken a narrow approach in regard to those that are members of the ANC and maybe possibly those who are in the employ of the ANC. But the officials in the state, which in the majority they are, and the people that are being accused are people within the states, officials of the state, ministers, and etc., and etc. That does not depend on the ANC at this stage now. It depends entirely from government. The people that are appointed by the president, the eyes of the society will be looking to the president, and he will be judged about how fast he acts on those that are being tainted by the commission, whether charged or not. The president can't wait for a minister to be charged. If the minister, by his virtue of being a minister, is tainted and bringing the country to disrepute as a minister, there's nothing stopping the president to reshuffle and remove those issues. So everybody that is working for the government, the president and the government itself, has that responsibility. It does not depend to the ANC. And that's what we are going to be watching. That's what we are going to be putting pressure to those that are tainted. And anyone that has a different view from those that are working in the state should be approaching the court as quickly as possible. They should be having a will to clear their name in an appropriate way. It's not going to depend, in our view, on the Integrity Committee. They have a role to play, but this is bigger than the ANC itself. This is a country that is being captured. This is a state, and everybody should cooperate. And we know that people as Mashilo, those that have been accused in the state capture, are not going to let it easy go and be removed. They have tested the gravy train. They will wish to continue to do those particular issues. But we are confident that the road we have traveled needed to be traveled fully with the speed necessary.
Yeah, especially what the state capture inquiry found insofar as the African National Congress being central to the project of state capture. To both of our guests, thanks for weighing in this morning. Dr. Mashilo is the SACP spokesperson. Bheki Ntshalintshali is the General Secretary of Cosatu. Thanks for joining us.